I'm going to talk about when morbidly obese people give you diet advice. And if that offends anybody, do not watch this content because it may come off as fat phobic. I don't mean to be like that, but it is what it is. So here we go. A lot of the times, morbidly obese people do not realize what they look like. I'm wearing a wig, so I'm just kind of playing with it a little bit. Um, Morbidly obese people don't realize what they look like, and I know this because I used to be morbidly obese. I saw a photograph because I was looking on Facebook and I saw an old photograph of me, and I was looking at this picture and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, who is that fat lady sitting next to one of my best friends? I enlarged the picture and I realized it was an old picture of me. I was like, that was me? Because I've lost a lot of weight, like a lot of weight, right? And so I was so fat that I didn't even recognize myself. I was like, that was me. Because once you lose a lot of weight, you look different. I didn't realize how fat I was until I lost all that weight. And I'm thinking, I went around looking like that in public, right? And you don't realize what you look like, because you dress up as nice as you can and you do whatever with your appearance, and you think you look good, and a lot of obese people have body dysmorphia. And I know that's hard to believe because you think, oh well, obese people, they have to be self-conscious, right? No, that's not always the case. A lot of obese people have body dysmorphia. So like I obviously did. It's called weight blindness. Yes, that is actually a thing, weight blindness. And I had it. I did not realize how big I was. I was walking around that big. And so I started looking through old photos of myself because I'm thinking, is that just a bad photo? Was I really that huge? So I started looking through these old photos of me and I was like, I was huge. I was big. Like I couldn't believe it. And so I was like, I have lost a whole lot of weight and I look a lot different now. Now, I'm not at my ideal weight now. My BMI is still high. Um, it's still too high. I mean, I'm not, obviously not as bad as I was, but my BMI is still too high. I should lose some more weight. But I honestly did not realize how bad I looked. So I can relate. I'm not putting these people down is what I'm trying to say, okay? If I'm not expressing myself very well. I'm not the only one who's like this as a fat person, all right? These other fat people don't realize how fat they are. Let's see, how's the light hitting? Is that better? Sorry. I'm getting a new computer, so right now we're just gonna have to do with a phone. Sorry about that. So these fat people don't know what they look like, and they don't realize how ridiculous they look giving skinny people diet advice. All right, here's another thing they don't realize, and I'm also talking about myself. Okay, so I'm not putting other people down. It's not like I can't relate. All right. They don't realize how many calories they're taking in. They're not thinking about it because they are emotionally eating, they're stress eating, they're eating because of anxiety. All right, they're eating because of depression. Okay, a lot of people with weight problems have been traumatized emotionally. So they are eating to fill a void. So I'm not talking bad about fat people, okay? A lot of them are emotionally hurting and they need therapy. So I'm not trying to trash talk them, okay? They are hurting inside. So this isn't me trying to be mean or anything like that, because I had a lot of unresolved emotional issues. Okay, a lot of my weight gain was my medication, but I was also sad about a lot of things. Okay, so, and I've overcome a lot of my things that I was emotional about. You know, you have to do the inner work if you want to overcome problems like that. There are some words I'm trying to avoid saying because YouTube doesn't like those words. So if you're watching me going, come out and say it, I can't come out and say it. But I think you guys know what word that I can't say on here, or a series of words I can't say on here. But when you are morbidly obese, you have an eating problem. But sometimes you might accuse skinny people of having an eating problem. But I can't say that other word. Okay? So, but I think, we're all adults. You guys know what word that I'm trying to say that I can't say. So, it worries the obese person when they see a skinny person doing skinny person habits, like intermittent fasting. They think that that's bad for you. Okay? They think it's bad for you. They think fasting is bad for you, because I used to do that all the time, because it's good for you. I feel good when I do it, okay? And I pay attention to how I feel, because I like to do things that regulate my emotions. I like to do things that help me feel better. So they think that's bad because that dysregulates them. Sorry for that bright light. Trying to get comfortable in my chair. That dysregulates their emotions because they constantly need food, so they can feel emotionally regulated. So when they see you fasting, that would mess them up. So they see that as you treating yourself poorly, not treating yourself right. They become concerned about you. When they see you not eating as much as they would eat, they think you're starving yourself. Okay? They see you in a caloric deficit. They don't realize that that's actually how much you're supposed to be eating. They're used to eating restaurant-sized portions. Okay? We are not supposed to be eating restaurant-sized portions. All right? We're supposed to be eating portion control size portions. When they see you eating portion control size portions, they think it's wrong. They're like, why are you eating that tiny amount of food? They think it's they think that's a snack. No, that's a meal. They don't understand that's how much you're supposed to be eating. They think when you're getting a whole lot of exercise that's excessive, that's that you're being too strenuous with your body. No, that's what you're supposed to be doing. That's how you get your endorphins. That's how you build up your muscle. That's your cardio. That's how, that's the real way that you regulate your emotions, okay? You can control a lot of your emotional dysregulation, a lot of your anxiety through exercise and sunlight. I mean, not all of it if you have like a particular problem with it, but you can control some of it with it. And they're controlling it with food. So they're not quite making the connection. Okay, in their mind, they're coming from a place of lack. They think that you need to keep eating like they can't get enough food. Okay, so they think you're not eating enough because they think they require all this nourishment that the body actually doesn't. Okay, here's another thing. You might be, your appearance might be changing because you might be losing weight. Okay, that might alarm them because it's the action of change. It's the change that's giving them anxiety. You look different. You might have more energy, or you might be a little grouchy, or you might just your priorities might be shifting. You might not be spending as much time with them. You might be going to the gym. You might be picking up different kind of habits that are more active. Or you might be having a new set of boundaries that might be making them a little uncomfortable. Okay, and they don't like it. So that's another thing. You might not be the pushover that you once were, because sometimes when we lose weight and we get in shape, um, that increases testosterone. Okay, and we become less of the doormat. They don't like that. Um, they just have this mentality sometimes where they're virtue signaling. Okay, they get picked on a lot, and sometimes people who get picked on a lot tend to think that they are righteous, and so they virtue signal and they like to tell you you're doing it wrong. All right. And it might not be coming from a bad place, but if you see somebody who is that big, who is that unhealthy, you don't want to take diet advice from them. All right. And you don't need to tell them you're big and fat, I'm not going to listen to you. Just tell them, I feel good this way, but thank you for your concern. I have a morbidly obese friend. She thinks all the skinny friends have problematic eating, and they're all skinny and happy. So I just realize it's her problem. And she's otherwise a good person. I just know that she's just in that obese mindset. And when I'm skinny, she thinks I have a problem too. So that's just her mind playing tricks on her. So I don't want you, if you are on some kind of weight loss journey, or you are in your dream body and bigger people are giving you a hard time, I don't want you to let them gaslight you. And I don't want you listening to these bigger people, because I know, because I used to be a bigger person. I know what kinds of things go through their heads, and I've had bigger people try to gaslight me when I was small. So I've been on both sides of the spectrum, and I hope this helps somebody, and I hoped it wasn't too fat phobic or judgy, and I hope everybody has a beautiful day. Bye-bye.